Hey guys, good morning. It is 8:50ish a.m. September 15th, 2020. A couple stocks in the morning news. Obviously, SAVA yesterday was impressive. I thought we had a peak, and it kind of blew through that high. Both that and I think it was, what was the one we were trading was STSA, I believe it was. If I'm not mistaken, let me see here. STSA, which also had an impressive move yesterday. But SAVA is really an interesting looking stock here on the longer term. I think you're going to have a bounce in the 670s to 694 area. Right now it's down 60 cents pre-market from the big move that it had yesterday, which is what, about 7%. So I think you're going to see some support around that 670 to 690 area. I'm not sure this one's done. But you know, these stocks like MRNS is gapping this morning. They all have the same story where they don't have a lot of money. If they do have a drug to bring to market and they're not getting bought out, they have to do financing for the drug to get the sales force active. So you'll see situations where, for instance, MRNS, you're looking at mid 2021 before they bring this stage 3 drug to market. And I think the weird thing is this is a drug I believe was used for postpartum depression, and the FDA rejected it. Now they're using it for some type of epilepsy, which it showed some good response. I think it was like 36% versus 4% for placebo, which is eightfold better than a placebo. The only side effects for the MRNS drug, I think it's called Glaxone, were some nausea, which was not a big deal at all. But it's the same thing with all these. I think the day trading is always there. You're gonna have these big spikes intraday and movements up and down. But I think there's this big fear that they're gonna go to the market for a secondary after approval. So it kind of caps the stock's movement to the upside. But this is one to keep an eye on. Number one, I like the what I look on MRNS. It just hasn't really had a huge move up or a huge move down. It's had some range bound movement, and now we're kind of pushing towards the high end of that movement. Obviously this is 338, 339 in this area, and that's kind of where we're at right now. But it's kind of interesting how over time some of these little micro ones can turn into huge winners. And maybe MRNS is one for us to keep an eye on, that if it does announce a secondary, then maybe it's kind of like the EVOFM, EVFM, where it's time to get in, although the companies are completely different in structure. So keep an eye on that. I'm still impressed with the move in NVIDIA. I did not think we'd get back into the 530s, and we're at 530 this morning. And NVIDIA literally bounced off. I've been using a shorter term moving average for a lot of these stocks, given the market speed that we've seen. And NVIDIA simply bounced right off of a 40-day moving average that I've been using. Here's a 45. You can see the 40-day moving average on NVIDIA, and it was pretty much right on. And then now we're curling back up and we're breaking above a 5-day high, and we're starting to get into the body of this candle here. So I think you can get up to the 545, 550 on NVIDIA. It's weird, a lot of these stocks like Shop, which has not been bouncing good, and Tesla and Zoom and stuff that I do like to trade intraday, have always been leading the market, and recently they've kind of relied on the market to have some strength. I do think that JNUG and stuff like that on the gold stocks can be bought on pullbacks now, and you can see that if we look at GDXJ, we finally got some stability, and now you're kind of breaking through this wedge here. We had this drawn a couple weeks ago actually, and we were trying to figure out, well, which way is this going to break, and I said that it needed to have 2 days of solid movement to the upside. And now you have a nice textbook curl. The MACD did not cross negative. In fact, you're getting a crossover to the upside. You're still in good shape with the RSI if this continues this move. And then we've had a couple days where we showed some good reversals and strength, and now you're breaking back above there. So you could have another move towards the ATH all-time highs on GDXJ, which would leave JNUG in a very good position intraday. Don't look at that because that's a leverage ETH. You can see how this is moving kind of different here, but now I can show you intraday on GDXJ or on JNUG that you could have some nice solid plays here. Hate to chase this, but if you did get a pullback, which you kind of already did in pre-market, GDXJ or JNUG might be interesting to play intraday here. I think this can get into the 170s, maybe 180s. So I'm not opposed to scalping some long action on JNUG. I've been watching Uber and Lyft lately, and Lyft kind of looks interesting here. I think once again you're going to look at a stock that needs the market to move higher. But technically, I like the way Lyft is kind of looking here, the shape of the longer term chart on Lyft. I mean, we have this little kind of curling action, and a move up to the 200-day average isn't crazy. 200-day moving average isn't crazy here, which would put you in the 35s. But I kind of expect it to be a slow mover. DraftKings, a stock that we like longer term, shocked me yesterday. There's some good news and bad news. The good news is that I was actually short intraday and made money and did not get blown out by this move. The bad news is that I did not have it in the trade account. It's funny because it channels, and now the channel top became the support area. And surprisingly, we went some ESPN news, I believe, which was pretty impressive. So this stock is really going mainstream here, and now you can't deny that technically this stock is on its way higher and higher. A little bit of a pullback, I believe, this morning, if I'm not mistaken, but nothing to be too concerned about. QDEL, I kind of like. GBTC, this is the ETF for Bitcoin, is kind of cycling a normal movement that we should see longer term for a stock like or an ETF like this. I mean, you're starting to channel here a little bit. You're holding above the 200. You're bouncing. You're trying to push through the 50-day moving average, which is what I should be using on that one instead of a 40. So kind of an interesting move, and let's if we see we can kind of draw a wedge in here. You'll see how we pop that wedge, and now we're kind of back testing and holding it. So kind of an interesting move in Bitcoin here, at least from the ETF perspective, which is called Grayscale Bitcoin, which is actually on the pink sheets, I believe. But interesting move there. Obviously, the target price would be about where it's at. I think one more pullback, and I might be interested in buying and holding this with a stop at the recent low. Looking for a move back into the low 13s. This one's been a little bit hard to just buy and hold. A lot of the SPAC stocks are kind of all over the place. I'm a little hesitant with the market here. Looking at SPY, let's see how we're looking on SPY. I think that 342 is a pretty solid resistance area. We're at 341 and change. So do I want to be buying stuff ahead of some major resistance here? Let's see if we look at it on a 10-day, 20 minutes, and see where we're at on SPY. I mean, I do like the curl that it had recently, but the energy was a little bit different off the bottom than we've seen through this whole market rally along the channel line. So I'm a little bit skeptical here on this move here. And it seems with the volatility we've had, sharp move up, down, move up, sharp move down, intraday volatility, that we're going to get to another point here in the 342 area, since we're kind of grinding higher in pre-market, where we could have a little bit of a whipsaw action. In fact, you could push through there and squeeze the shorts and then have another reversal. So I'm a little hesitant to just buy and hold here. I'm not in the mood to be doing any swing trading just yet. I'm not super impressed with the movement here. It's nice to see the stability, but I'm not super impressed with it. So I'm trying to find outlier stocks that look like they're ready to move higher. LMPX continues to kind of grind higher here. I think this is going to run into a little bit of a trouble inside the gap here around the 20. It got to 22. I don't know if that was pre-market, but if you look at the daily 1 year on this, thing's had a nice move, one that we've liked, breaking above this little double, triple top area. And the 20s got filled in the gap, and now we're kind of grinding into this area. So I'd imagine it slows down. So on watch for a pullback. If it doesn't, it'll go up without me. Peloton, it's funny because what I'm envisioning for us to be doing is to get into the Discord channel at least a couple days of the week, and then alerts will be sent off. I see something interesting intraday, which has not been successful with texting, that we can go on and kind of look at what I'm looking at. And there's a couple guys that I like on YouTube. There's a channel on YouTube that these guys have where they do, like, there's three of them. They do livestock trading, and it's not so much that I follow their technicals or their buy and sell advice. The guys have a lot of energy. It's really entertaining. They do it from, I think, 9:30 obviously in the morning, opening until noon, and they give you good eyes on the market. So a lot of times they were picking stocks like they were long Peloton, but I was short Peloton. I mean, it turned out that I was right and they were wrong, but it doesn't mean that they're not right on some other stuff. And they did point out a couple little smaller trading stocks, low floats, that I made some money on because it just looked like they looked like technically okay to me. And, I didn't have the time to do the fundamental research on it, but they pointed out the story and they gave me a quick alert to take a look at them. I think maybe we look at these guys and kind of sift through their stuff and determine which one is the most interesting. One stock of note, I believe, is another SPAC stock, but we're trying to catch these before they move, right? We've caught a few of them. IPOB looks interesting. This is Social Cap Hedosophia Holdings Company. I know one of the big billionaire guys, and I can't pronounce his name. My son probably can pronounce it. Chaparothawi or whatever, is invested in this company, as well as FVAC, which we do like, and we still have some shares of that. But this is continuing to break into new highs. Had a little consolidation the last few days, and I don't know if there's news out this morning, but they're gapping it up. So blue sky territory, hard to figure out where we're going to go on this one, but this one might be one to watch too on pullbacks as well. Support is around 1280, but it's been a little bit of a low kind of slow grinder. It's shown some pre-market strength in the 17, so this one I might be playing today, IPOB. I like the movement here that we're seeing on a 10-day, 20-minute chart. Interesting action there. I got to stop those alerts intraday or during my videos. So that's one to watch. KCAC is kind of grinding higher. It's one we like, but it's been a little bit of a wild ride. Zoom ZM, I would not be chasing here. Had some nice rebounds, left a lot of money on the table there. Tesla, unfortunately, I'm out. I played the bottom end on that one. Walmart came back in on the TikTok news, but there's something going on with Walmart. If you looked at Walmart, their earnings, they crushed it on the I'm sorry, I got sidetracked there looking at something on my phone. They crushed it on the e-commerce side. So this company's kind of changing their direction with respect to retail. They're doing a great job at it. And I'm not trying to compare them to Amazon, but the valuation there is certainly not insane. I know people go historically on valuation for Walmart and where it's headed, but I think Walmart just continues to grind higher. So for buy and hold people in a market that's going to be a little bit scary going to the election, I'm not opposed to Walmart being a buy and hold here, especially showing that they can make big moves with positive news here. Obviously, they're pulling back, but I do think it holds this kind of 45, 50 day, 40, 45 day moving average around the 134, 135 area. So you might have 4 points to the downside, before it gets shaken out. And I think it can go back up and retest that 144 area, which is shy of the all-time high. So, you have 6 points, 7 points up at least, I think, and maybe 4 points potential to downside. But as long as the market hangs in there, I think Walmart will outperform. I kind of like the price action of Walmart, other than the recent move that we've seen on the TikTok news. Something's wrong with Shop here. I'm avoiding Shop. It used to be one of my favorites to buy on pullbacks intraday, but Shop is not acting well here. In this recent move we've seen, it's creating more of a bear flag, so I'm a little bit skeptical on Shop. So ones I'm watching this morning is obviously MRNS, but I don't think it's ready for a buy and hold. It might be a good scalper. And then obviously tomorrow I believe we have the monster IPO in Snowflake, which I definitely think we should all be playing that one. Nikola, when there's smoke, there's fire. I'm kind of avoiding this one. It's kind of fun to trade intraday because I know there's a lot of shorts in this, and at some point they cover, so I've made money kind of playing the little squeezes intraday. So let's get this Discord channel going over the next few days and do some intraday live trading. I think it'll be a lot more fun because things do change intraday, and we can watch some other shows and kind of pick and sift through what they're recommending or shorting and kind of determine what's the best stuff for us to do based on multiple eyes on the mark, which is a good idea. So those are my takes right now. Nothing really stands out today. Yesterday was an interesting day, but today's is a little bit quieter. If you guys have any stocks, punch them into the comments column and I'll take a look at them, and we'll go from there.